I'm going to go ahead and just cut to the chase, save the BS. You're probably like, hey, why should I listen to you? I want to get that out the way. Number one, of course, here's my calendar for this week. All these blues over here are people that actually, as you can see, look. See my calendar, that's cold call, EST call. So I'll cold call, okay? For my own business, as you can see, all these blues are cold calls, are book calls, basically, okay? I'm going to show you next week also. You see, all these blues are people who book calls. The big ones are actually sales calls. People who actually came on these demo calls and then further moved on to actually scheduling sales calls. So I can tell you one or two things basically in regards to cold calling and how you can get over that hurdle, because I actually, do about a minimum 100 cold calls, which is really not a whole lot. I do more than that sometimes, but 100 cold calls is basically the bare minimum that I do. So in a nutshell, when it comes to cold calling, the reason why sometimes you're reluctant, the reason why sometimes you have some fear towards cold calling, it's not because you don't know how to pick up the phone and dial someone up, right? It's because you're lacking some foundational understandings of how cold call, or what cold calling is, okay? And I'm just gonna go through them real quick, so you can have that paradigm shift, so you can have that aha moment, understand, and start to actually take the action to call these people, okay? So number one, really, what holds a lot of people back from cold calling is really their beliefs toward cold calling. Maybe you can be in that individual, or you are, or deep down inside, you have that icky feeling towards people who cold call you. And as human beings, if you have a specific feeling towards, the reason why some people are so shy of the camera is because they watch someone on YouTube and they comment, they say bad stuff about them. So they themselves, they have a fear to get on camera because this is what you hear all the time. Oh, I'm scared. I don't look good. This is why. Why? Because when they see people on camera, they always say this. They say, oh, look at this person's hair. This person looks dirty. This, and that. So they're assuming and they're projecting the same kind of thing onto themselves because they're already doing it to other people. So they assume other people are always going to do it to them. So the same thing with cold calling. When people are cold calling you, for example, or when people cold call you, you probably have that icky feeling, or you view them as just people who are just, people who just cause so much chaos and disturbance. So since you see them as that, you don't want to be viewed as that. So you also have that reluctancy. And it's not something that you're typically aware of on top of your mind. It's typically something that's subconscious. So that's something you really need to, look into and really sit down with yourself and ask yourself. And a lot of time, this is really what caused a lot of people to kind of stay away from cold calling. Because cold calling, man, I believe any business owner, especially if you're starting out, you should cold call. Like, you need to get those reps in. This is a skill it's a skill set, man. I've started multiple businesses just by taking my phone and scraping data online and calling people with no money. Like, literally, my phone bill is not even paid by me. Okay? Number one. So, second thing that basically stops people from cold calling or causes so much reluctance or resistance, right, is the fear of rejection. And that's a misunderstanding, because when you're calling someone, you're not saying, hey, the name is Robin, I go to Princeton, I have this degree, this is about me. You're not calling the person telling them about you, are you? Right? You're calling them telling them a proposition. So when they tell you F off, or they tell you no, or bang the phone, they're telling your offer to get off the phone. They're not talking to you. And sometimes when you call these people, you need to understand, people are sometimes, the wife might have just died, kid might have just got ran over. So many things happen in people's lives. You never know what's happening when you call someone. So you can't just assume people are just saying things because they hate you. The person you just called, all these people that I just showed you over here, okay, all these people that I called here, some of these people, like for example, this guy over here, right, not interested. I probably will never call this guy or ever speak to him ever in my life again. What the freak am I going to be scared about? Right? He said, not interested. Bye. Next person. Boom. Next person booked. Boom. Not interested. Not ideal. Booked. Keep going. Booked. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you just keep going. This person was interested. This person. Anyway, so fear of rejection. We need to understand, people are not rejecting you, they're rejecting the offer. Simply, that's it. Okay, you're a great human being. Maybe you are, hopefully you are. If you're not, then you can fix that up, of course. But you're rejecting the proposition and not you. So that's the second paradigm shift you need to do. Number one, like I said, was really just looking on the belief side of things and see how you view other people who cold call. Because maybe that could be what's causing a lot of reluctance, because you fear that you might be projected the same way onto other people. Number two, fear of rejection. They're not rejecting you, they're rejecting the proposition. And by the way, if you're wondering what script I use and how I get these people to not only schedule these calls, but actually come on these calls and then schedule a sales call, let me know. I'll record a video about that, because these people are showing up, I'm telling you. Number 3, high expectations. When I cold call every single day that I do these calls, like the week that I started booking 7 calls a day and stuff like that. When I went back and cold call Monday, I had no expectations. I have no expectation when I cold call. My goal, in honesty, when I call, is to really speak slow and talk to people. That's really what's on my forefront of my mind a lot of times, and have a conversation. Because I look at cold calling as a way to enhance my skills and my ability to get to the point, and also, have variables, which is different questions thrown at me, and still be able to answer it at a speed and stuff like that, if that makes sense. So I really set low expectations when I'm cold calling, and set low expectations. And I'm telling you, you'll always get more than you expected. Low expectations. I think I had a 4th one that I wanted to say, but for the sake of time, of course, maybe this might not even be watched. But this is really a couple of things that I wish someone told me before I started cold calling. And yeah, man, low expectations. As you can see over here, this is what I used to actually. So this is $100 every day. Mark them over here. But man, yeah, these are and you can see the results for yourself. Like, these are actual people scheduling calls. These are the time frames that I do the cold calls within. And yeah, that's pretty much it. One thing I would say though is I would not try to go ahead and book a bunch of people. Like, this is a huge mistake. You should stop to 4. If you're an SDR or you're just someone working for another company, go ahead, book all you want. I'm running the whole company. I'm managing everything for now. So I'm doing like 5 people's jobs right now, in all honesty. Taking care of operations, taking care of generating opportunities, taking care of sales calls, taking care of sales scripts. Sometimes you need to applaud yourself for that, because no one's going to tell you. I mean, it's easy to get caught up in doing the work and forgetting how much you're actually doing. It takes a lot of energy, is what I'm hearing, to do what I'm doing. But once again, that's something you need to shy away from, because if you think what you're doing is really that big of a deal, then you'll do a little of it and you'll feel like you did a lot. Like, well, all you're doing is freaking picking up the phone and calling people. Hey, what's up, John? Yeah, I'll be totally honest with you, man. This is actually the call. You got 30 minutes? Man, sometimes on these calls, I'll be laughing. And one thing, this is what I wanted to say before I get off. The more you do the calls, the easier it gets. Like, the more you do the calls, the easier it gets. The hard part is you just got to do it every single day. That's it. The more you do it, like, I'm looking forward to calling tomorrow. Not 100%, but I'm looking forward to it, though. Even though I probably won't get to call as much as I want tomorrow. I got a bunch of not BS calls, but I got a bunch of people that I need to speak to over and over and over. And repeating the same thing to the same people over and over and over. So many reps. I got to go through them. I got to go through this with them. Yeah, I think I might cut this video short because I'm doing too much right now. But I got to go through the same thing with all of those people. I got to explain the same thing over and over to the same different people over and over and over and over and over. And have all of them say, okay, let's go ahead and schedule a second call. Typically, that's what I get. People schedule second calls. It's all thanks to the Almighty, of course. And the more thing I just want to, I should have said at the beginning, is, keep God at the forefront. Keep God at the forefront. Ask Him to make it easier for you. That should be number 1, of course. God. Number 2, fix your beliefs. Number 3, they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting the proposition. Number 3, no expectations. You're calling, you don't care. Your goal should just be to, sometimes when I call, my goal is just to get the 100 calls in. I don't really care. Even though I'm the owner of the company, I want to get those calls booked in. But like, my goal is just to get the 100 calls in, because, if I get the 100 calls in, I did what I was supposed to do. I can't control more than that. That's the honest truth. You can't force people to schedule a call. That's why people get so many no-shows, because their goal is just to schedule anybody. And that's what you get. Anybody. And they end up canceling. But nevertheless, if you're interested in the script that I use, or how I go about getting all these book calls, or what kind of automations I use to get these people to actually show up, let me know. I'll record a separate video. Other than that, go watch my weekly update video. You can go check out our podcast if you're here for this long. Hopefully you are. If you're not, hey. It's like, go check out my podcast webpage. We have one podcast up there right now. I should be done with this video right now. That's crazy, bro. That shit is sad. Right here. It's our podcast, the first podcast right here.
Hey, so welcome to the first ever show podcast. I don't know what you want to call it, episode of the Preeminence podcast. Of course, it's going to be on YouTube and other directories and stuff like that.
It's not the best. I don't care. Then it goes back to what I was telling you previously. No expectations. If I, for example, this web page, I have people comment on this page. They say it's very thorough, it's straight to the point, and this is a shitty web page to me. But to some people, this is great. I made this myself. I think it took me like an hour or two. Very easy for me, right? But why is it easy? Because I did it multiple times. Now my first time doing it, and not only that, I did it multiple times basically. But yeah, don't chase perfection. No expectations. Just call people. Some people say F off. Some people will laugh. Some people just keep going. You gotta set a baseline for yourself with these calls. You gotta set a baseline. You gotta say, if I don't hit this 100 calls or 200 calls, I'm not leaving. Some days, as you can see over here, some days, for example, this week here, I booked about the seven calls. I actually booked them by 12. I actually booked them by 12 a.m. that day, but I still continued calling. So I had only about 40,000, and I still booked 7+, but I still kept on going. You just gotta set a baseline for yourself and keep going, keep calling. All these are all people who schedule calls with me. Look, and majority of these people came. This guy, for example, this guy canceled. So from all the calls that I did, if you look at it, bro, the no shows are very, very little. For example, this guy didn't. This guy showed up. He showed up. I missed the call. If you read here, look, you see, missed the call. I missed the call. So, I don't know what happened with this, but yeah, this guy, he canceled. So this guy, he didn't cancel. He booked. I thought he canceled. He ended up calling me saying, "Yo, what happened? Yo, the call. We should get on." And I'm not even tracking stuff properly, by the way. I'm supposed to fix this sheet. I'm telling you, I'm not even doing stuff at my efficiency at all. So, and I started off, here's my first cold call. So, apologies. Here's some of my first ever cold calls. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can make this big. Yeah. See this? That was one of my first ever sales cold calls that I was doing, and that was for a funding company that I had. And I stopped that. Then I started doing cold calling for credit repair, and the same skill set that I'm using to start and grow multiple businesses. And it's the same skill set that this company over here is hiring for multiple companies. This is the base salary for this skill set, right? This is the base salary for this skill set, 60 grand. You can make about 6 figures just by knowing how to freaking take the phone. So if you're someone who's a peon, I'm not cursing you out, but I feel as though, no, I'm not saying that. Everyone wants what they want in life, right? If you're someone who's okay with just 6 figures in your life, if you can freaking take the phone and call, you already have 6 figures worth of skill sets already. That's being needed in the marketplace every single freaking month and day and year. Literally. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I made the video longer than it was supposed to be, but it's really hard to say that, man. Take the initiative. Do these calls, man. You gotta go through the pain. The beginning is really, really, but as you keep on doing it, it gets easier and easier and easier. The beginning, the effort is a lot, but as time goes on, it's that slope. And it becomes to the point. I'm talking to you and me. It gets to the point whereby, if you don't cold call, you don't feel good. I'm telling you. You know how crazy that is? That's why habits in little chunks are so dangerous. That's why I stay away from those. Me, I'm a person that does stuff big. Hey, not to expose myself, but when I do stuff, I just do it in chunks. God forgive all of us, right? But if I'm to do something, I'm gonna do it in a chunk and then leave it. And probably next year or next 5 months, then do a chunk and leave it. Because that right there is harder to make a habit. Subconsciously, that's why I do that. Subconsciously, that's why I do stuff like that. But you see those little things you're doing? if you're doing just 10 calls a day, 100 calls a day, every day, yeah, you're gonna become a cold call machine. I'm telling you, human beings were programmable. You can become anything you want. And I'm saying this to affirm it to myself, and I'm saying this to affirm it to you as you're watching this. You know, chase whatever you want, but don't chase what people want. Chase what's gonna get you. Don't be. I should have put this inside the weekly video, but hey, it is what it is. Don't chase desires, I guess. Anyway, it's supposed to be a quick video about how to conquer cold calling, but I made it into a whole preach. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. And I'm gonna end it with this end screen.